This conference will now be recorded.
Several years we were paying good.
Okay, good evening. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Should we kill the air conditioner? Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you all for coming this evening. The first thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes. We have the May 13th regular meeting minutes and the May 28th regular work session meeting. Should we do those individually, or can I do that as a single resolution? Anybody want to comment?
Okay with single.
Single resolution? Okay. So I have a single resolution to adopt and accept the May 13th regular meeting minutes and the May 28th regular work session meeting minutes. So I may have a motion, please. Tim makes it.
Second.
Any comments, discussions, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay, we have a guest this evening. Hi, Jennifer Perry. Jennifer Perry is going to address the board about compost and food scrap hauling at the transfer station.
Yep.
So please.
Yeah, thank you. Is this like a normal turn up, or do you guys have like a controversy?
I don't know.
Great.
I don't.
I've been to a lot of board meetings and it doesn't look like this. So
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. I'll be as brief as I can, and then I'll see if you guys have questions. So I am here under two hats. I am part of a group called Compost for Good, which is affiliated with the Adirondack North Country Association, INCA. You guys have probably heard of them a little bit through their clean energy program. So that's one hat. And under that hat, we promote community scale composting, food scrap, food waste reduction through a whole bunch of different programs and initiatives, farmers, municipalities, all kinds of entities. So that's one hat. That's like a not-for-profit that offers free technical assistance, education, et cetera. The other hat that I'm more probably actively here under is that I own and operate a food scrap hauling and composting business in Redford with my partner, John. We currently process 8 to 10 tons of wasted food into compost a week. We're pushing 1 million tons since we started. That's a lot of food waste that's gone from a garbage to become compost. All of our compost is available for local people, farmers, gardeners. We cannot keep up with demand. So that's my business. So we are currently serving 5 municipalities in the North Country. Chesterfield was the first. And what that means is that we have collection bins there. Keene is another one. So we have 2 collection bins. That's what we figured they needed. And it's at the Chesterfield and Keene, it's both at their transfer stations, also St. Armand. And so residents can go up and they, for free, put their food scraps into the bins, and then the community pays us per bin to take away the full bin, and we leave a clean bin on whatever the schedule. Chesterfield's every other week. Keene is every week. We're doing both Champlain's, that's weekly, so it's up to you, whatever that is. There is a fee. It's every community has its own payment schedule. The town of Chesterfield actually had a person in the community who offered to pay because she wanted it so much. Keene just paid, and both Champlain's have a temporary grant that will parlay into the village and town paying directly. I can tell you that our rates are $15 for a 50-gallon bin. If it's one bin, if it's a couple, it's $12 per bin. If you parlay that into tipping fees, food waste is extremely heavy, so we're talking under $100 a month, probably for a community this size. And it gets the food scraps out of the waste stream, which is of course really important, but on some level it also saves money for the residents. And so my question back to you is, for your transfer station, do you tip? Like, do you pay to take it, the waste?
Yes.
Okay, to Essex County?
Yes.
Okay, so you're paying Essex County tipping fees? So on some level, they're at least with Chesterfield, some months they save money, some months they break even, and we could help you work through those numbers. So in an ideal situation, you're just at an even. Optimally, you're saving yourself money, very much you're saving your community members.
Right, so, each person who goes to the transfer station has a card, and it gets weighed.
Okay.
So they're the ones also who would be saving, because they would be removing the food scraps from what would be weighed by Doug and thrown into the container.
Exactly, yeah. And then again, that's the financial part of it, but for sure, it's also just now you've got more compost available for local people. And,
Now, so let's say we're not the biggest generator of food scraps. How much compost are we going to get? Anyway,
I would love to sit here and tell you that we are raking in the dough on the compost sales that we make. And I would be more than happy to delineate the economics of compost.
Right.
Believe it or not, there's hardly any economic benefit to us in the compost sales by relative terms.
Yep.
Food scraps reduce substantially by volume. So if I had like a yard of food scraps, it would reduce by 2/3 just the food scraps. By the time we have hauled, we are actually currently hauling wood chips, which is part of a recipe. We pay there. It takes close to a year to get to the final product. But that being said, we do offer compost to our customers, probably about a bag or two, depending on the size of the customer, for free in the when it's available in the spring. So
it takes a while to process.
It takes a huge and a lot of time.
Right.
Yeah. So I would love to say free compost for everybody, but it's
Okay.
That's kind of not the reality of it. But.
Any questions? Yes, comments?
I know you emailed us last year.
Yes.
This came up at the planning board meeting last week.
Okay.
So I mentioned your email and forwarded it to the board, or to two of the board members. Well, one board member and Doug Nemec. So you might be hearing from people that they had reached out to them. So just as a side note, but thank you for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. And just a couple really quick things. So other communities have actually done a survey for their community. That's been very helpful. There's 5 that are actually doing this, but there are up to 10 that are Ready Jay's one of them that will be doing it shortly or somewhere down the next year. So this is definitely a trajectory. And also, if you are ever interested in hearing more about the Climate Smart Communities program, the ANCA hosts, this feeds into different certifications. So.
We use them in Keene, as
Yes.
you said.
I'm sorry, what?
We use you in Keene.
Oh, okay. Awesome, thank you.
And one thing I like about it is, just this past month, she sent me videos to train on, and showed videos how to train the staff. And
Yeah,
stuff.
we work
So
very
that was
closely.
really nice.
Good, yeah, we do education campaigns
Yeah.
as part of the
That was
service.
really
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Do you have sample surveys you might share with us?
I would happily share a sample survey with you.
Thank you.
The numbers again, so the startup and then the maintenance and then the monthly fee, could you just snapshot that, just because I was processing?
Yeah, so it's $15 per swap if
Okay.
it's one bin. So if in the colder months you could go every other week, you could go once a month. In the summertime, you're going to want to go more frequently. We do provide fly traps and sawdust, which help with just the warmer temperatures and things like that upon request. So it'd be $15 if you have one bin per swap.
Okay.
So again, in the cold, like Chesterfield, we're every other week, so it saves there. And then if it's more than one bin, it's $12 a bin a swap.
Okay.
Yes, that's it. Like if we take a bin, we charge you. If it sits there for 3 weeks in the winter, you don't get charged.
Okay. And what would our landfill attendant be responsible for?
Hardly anything. I guess it's up to you. In Chesterfield, they wanted hasps on their bins with just a carabiner. So they just make sure they're locked, not locked, but like a carabiner to keep the lid down at night. And in the summer months, if you don't have your residents do it, they could come in with a scoop of sawdust at the end of the day to kind of keep the odors and flies down. That might be it. Chesterfield built us a lovely platform. Keene has a really nice kiosk that was already there. Hardly anything. Is it?
Would you mind taking a question?
I would love that.
Go
I
ahead.
thought compost for the rest of my life.
Go ahead.
Is there any issue with bears or raccoons or any other animals
Yeah, so no, I don't know why, but to date, and we have 75 customers, we have never had an issue with bears. Or, we have things that try to get into our bins, but they just don't. There'll be chew marks and things like that, but, because of the HACCP situation, if you want that, they can't physically get into it. And then the other part of that, like the other way I like to think about this is we're getting rid of our garbage one way or another. And if there's food waste in a plastic bag in a dumpster, it's still there. In our situation, it's in one place and we try to make it unattainable and we then take it away. So it's, yeah, that is always the big question, for sure.
Now, Keene is doing this, and it's $12 per bin.
Correct, and they have two that we take.
And so how often do you take the bins?
We're weekly in Keene.
Weekly?
Yeah.
So it's $24 a week for Keene.
For Keene. And they also applied for, I have yet, do you know if you guys got the grant? I haven't heard yet.
I haven't heard yet.
Okay.
I just put in more paperwork today.
Oh, there's a lot of support from municipalities coming in from the state. They had $2.5 million, the new budget, there's $5 million specifically for municipalities doing food waste reduction. So this round of grants, I actually helped write 7 of them. So I also have to help with grant funding.
That was my next question.
Yeah, I'm a grant writer, so that's, yeah.
So it's like $100 a month, probably, for a town like Wilmington?
Well, I guess it depends on how much. Keene probably has a customer base that is pretty engaged, so I really can't tell you. Chesterfield is 2 bins every 2 weeks that are full.
Chesterfield's bigger population than Wilmington, right?
Yes.
Town-wise, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's Keysville and then, but the town around it too.
So Chesterfield's like $50 a month.
Yeah, 50, yep, yeah.
Pretty modest, and I believe this is a positive program, so.
I did have a question. How do you handle plastic?
We don't, we're very strict with contamination. That's called contamination. Other composters might have a different standard. We are extremely rigid. We only take food scraps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you go through it? I mean.
We do. And
Oh,
that's our video.
That's the video.
We do.
Yeah.
It's
That
sucks.
is so good.
It sucks.
Just a sec, Karen, there's a question in the back. Susie?
You take all food?
Yes. If it was any sort of a food, we take a little bit of grease, bone, dairy, milk, we take all of it. We do, work very hard to communicate to the community that we don't want anything. If you can take your stickers off, your avocado skins, we pull everything out that we can see. It sucks. That's why we work really hard with the communities to make sure that that's limited in the very beginning. And we're lucky, really. We've gotten some great compliance with that. So, yeah,
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So you have my email,
I
if you
do.
would follow up, and we'll touch base with you with a survey, and then
Yep.
I'll get back in touch and talk about our next steps.
I love it.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Aaron. Good, thank you. You want to talk to the board about something, or are you at the meeting?
I think Colin was gonna
Oh,
have
okay,
a little talk. I'm just here for some support.
okay. Well, thank you. Then we'll go
Here for
through.
your questions.
Excellent. Well, we'll do because Colin will put you on. We only have two of our departments present tonight. So we'll put you in with Colin with the Parks Department. So the Highway Department, so we've got a written report from Louis saying he's finished sweeping the town and state roads, the project for the summer. He's going to fix Hazelton and Bonneview cemeteries, putting in drop inlets and culverts, ditching, road milling on road, rake and grade all dirt roads, and paving with other towns. I do know that since they started to mill the Route 86, I think we, accumulated quite a bit of the.
There's some already at Hazelton Cemetery. They started working there today.
Yeah. So one of the projects I mentioned before was, the Hazelton Cemetery, we get washouts and things like that. So they're starting to use some of that leftover road material from Route 86, and they've moved it to Hazelton Cemetery and started working on those roads. And then he has a big pile out at the highway garage that he's gonna apply towards. So I think they did very well. And that project should be paved by the end of this week, weather permitting. So they moved pretty quickly on that project for the state contractors. So that's Lily's report. Ed gave us a water report, which everyone sees. So the gallons produced in Water District 1 was 2,346,400. The daily average was 180,500. The gallons to Whiteface was 28,400, and the daily average was 900. He fixed a leak at Town Hall. I can talk a little bit about that because there's another proposed cleanup sheetrock bill in the pile of papers. And then he put a 1-inch tap Abbey Way and did some, as usual, his sample. So the leak in the Town Hall was the water line to the kitchen sink back here developed a little hole. It started to drip. It damaged some of the sheetrock downstairs. Ed cut it open. Ed found the leak, repaired the leak. He borrowed some equipment from some of our local contractors and cinched it together. And now we have asked for a quote for somebody to repair the sheetrock downstairs. So that's what that reference was to. Okay, Doug. No, wait a minute. John, you're ahead of Doug. Go right ahead, John.
We've been mowing and trimming, like 3/4 done mulching. The flower barrels are all done and out. Just ordered a new rope and buoys for the beach because the old one like just falling apart and gross. Kids get those little plastic splinters when they like grab a hold of it. And we just finished the 100K, which went well. And bathrooms and garbage and all that stuff.
So I received an email about a week ago from the company that's supplying us with the playground equipment that we ordered. It should be either this week or the beginning of next week. We're having it delivered to John's garage here, and John and the crew will take it up to the park, and hopefully we can situate it somewhere nice and set that up for the summer. So that's my park update. John and I also, I might as well talk about it then, we also looked at some trees. There's there's one particular quote from a tree specialist. We talked about at the last meeting that there's some pine trees that are hanging a little too close to a house, that they're a danger. We received a request from the people living in the house that we want to look at those and take them down. I went with John and looked at them. They look like, yeah, they're big old white pines, and I wouldn't want one falling on my house either, with kids in it. So we obtained one quote so far. It's in the packet. We'll go over that a little bit from Precision Tree. There's a tree that's hanging over the tennis court for which we've got a quote. And that one's sort of been on hold. My idea is if the board authorizes us to get someone to take down the 2 pine trees, I would propose to get a hold of the owner of the property and draw up some sort of an agreement where we just say, okay, look, the tree is on a property line rather than getting into the question of who owns it and things like that. The town will take it down and you won't later claim that it's your tree and give us a hard time about it. So that's once we decided to go forward on something like that, if we're going to go forward on it, that would be my next step as well.
It is on the property line?
I think it's very close, but it's dangerous tree, and I figured that would be a nice solution. I would like the owner of the property was the person who called us as a tenant. And I'd like the owner of the property to sit there and not later on come back to the town and say, what, took down my tree? So we just get them to acknowledge it and that the town will take it down and waive any rights they may have to claim that they own it. Yes, Jeff?
The other tree in question is the one by the tennis courts.
Go ahead, talk
We'd like to clean up around the tennis courts. There's just a lot of stuff growing in. And the tree hangs quite a bit over the fence, and like in the fall, all the leaves will fall down, and it just drops stuff on the court constantly. And it's eventually gonna fall on the fence there, which would cost much more than taking the tree down before that happens. That's the other one. But if we get that out of there, then we can clean up all around, we black down walls, vegetation out, sweep the stuff out. It'll just look a lot nicer down there.
The rope for the beach, do you remember how much that cost?
Like $829 with buoys and 300 feet of rope and the children's rope, and everything all included.
It seems like that would be something that we could use bed tax money to pay for. Is that-
Well, what we've done is we've used bed tax money to create a budget of $22,000 for the beach this summer. I'm not sure we're gonna have enough lifeguards to, we didn't meet $22,000 last year. So, at some point we could just adjust it and move it from a personal service to the contract expense. But I think there's probably enough budgeted funds already to cover that.
The other thing about the beach while you're on it, and funds, is kayaks.
Yep.
For rent, we don't have any. We have the one double, I think, actually. But the other ones are all, we got them, like when I had 12 years ago, they've just gotten holes and been patched and gotten holes and been patched to the point where they're just, every now and then you have to buy a new fleet.
It's,
If you want to rent kayaks, we do.
it's our seventh fleet is tired out. So what are you doing about, you're gonna get us some estimates and things and then just submit them? Okay.
And that 22,000, that's all bed tax money, if I remember correctly, right?
Yep.
For the beach?
Yep.
Do you think that would be enough to pay for kayaks as well?
We'll find
We have a lot of canoes. We just,
Okay.
people like kayaks.
Yep.
They're easier.
Um,
They're probably like, I don't know, three to 400 bucks a piece. Probably. Might get a deal if you bought 4 or 5 from like a local shop. If you get them at wherever, Dick's or Sam's Club or something, they're probably.
You kept track of your hours last year for the time the Parks Department worked for the 2 fly and the 100K. I believe that, if my math is right, the Parks Department worked for the 2 fly 48 hours and similar amount for the 100K. Was that similar this year?
We didn't do much for the food fly this year.
Okay,
I think we got wood.
okay. So like an hour.
Maybe. The 100K I have, it's all at my garage.
You kept track of your time.
Yeah, mileage and time and people and where they went, what they did.
Because they reimbursed us for that. Did any other towns help?
The county gave home.
no.
I was being nice. Not really, no.
Thank you, John.
I have
Oh,
a question for
go
John,
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
or for the board and John. We had gotten this about seal coating.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that, we're moving forward with that.
I think it was year before last was the last time we did it. It's just good to do the courts like every couple of years because they crack up and the more, if you keep up on, like anything, if you keep up on it, it's not as bad than if you let it go 5, 6 years and then it. And the basketball court and the tennis court are kind of, should be kept up on this point because they're old.
I went and did a visual inspection of the basketball court after this was discussed, and it definitely needs it. Like it was in worse shape than I thought.
And Don does a good, he cleans it up and seals the cracks and he does a good job.
Do we need to make a motion to ask John to move forward with this?
Well, we definitely do for the $3,270 one, that one needs to be board approved. The $1,200 one, we don't necessarily have to do. That's within his remit as department chair, subject to.
We would like to clean up like around the tennis court before it happens, because it's just gonna make everyone's life easier.
Okay, so are you saying the order of work would be take down that tree, clean up around tennis court,
Yeah,
and then put Don in there, because if we call up Don, he'll show up immediately.
the basketball court could be done anytime,
Okay,
but, it would be ideal to clean up around the tennis court before, so they can,
well, wait a minute,
This
that's
is
the
work.
beach area.
Did he repaint the lines on it afterwards, John?
yeah.
So it's this
Are you going to have time to deal with the tennis court in the near future?
We'll just make time. Just, you know, if it's all gonna happen, we'll just go there and do it. And
The basketball court and the tennis court, they were less expensive, right? They were,
I was thinking the right side.
there was one, he gave me a quote for, I think, the Visitors Bureau.
Yep.
Someone must have talked to him about that, but I only talked to him about the basketball court and the tennis court.
his quote is $3,300 for the basketball court and the tennis court.
Sounds about right. $1,700.
So like,
And he's done it 3 or 4 times.
so I'm not sure if procedurally we do, I'll make that resolution then, if we need to. Again, I would think that would be a bed tax expense.
So the resolution is to authorize John to get hold of Don and seal coat, which ones exactly? Just to make sure.
Basketball court, tennis court.
Basketball, per the estimate that he sent before.
And if it's easier, if you don't want to spend that much, you could stagger them. Like we could wait on the tennis court, clean up around it, have it ready, and then next year do the tennis court, and the year after do the, you know what I mean, do the basketball court, and then you're not spending $1,600 instead of $3,500 or whatever it is.
I don't know how bad shape the tennis court's in. I know the basketball court definitely needs it. I'm not sure about this.
It's been a couple of years for the basketball court.
I'll second the motion.
Any comments, discussion, question?
So this usually lasts about 2 to 3 years on each one.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Tilt.
Aye.
Sarah.
Aye.
Laura.
Aye.
Tina. Aye. Sarah.
Yes.
So procedurally, do we need to do anything for that money to come out of bed tax rather than?
No, so what I'm hoping to do is at the end of the month here, we'll be making some budget amendments, and so we'll look and see, because I've not gone back to the dog control thing that needs to be amended. And when you look at the report there, you'll see a couple that we'll probably want to attend to. But I'm hoping we can just do that at the end of the month. So that's carried. Anyone else for Doug? Doug's not here, John's here.
I'm assuming the list, John, I talked to you the other day, will be ready for the work session.
I do have it.
We'll put it on the agenda for the work session.
Yep.
Thank you.
I just want to get it. I just want to type it up.
Yep,
It's a
that's
little
fine.
better than my handwriting.
Thank you.
David be able to read it. His is probably worse.
I don't know if he will.
We can read it, but I understand why you want to type it.
Are we gonna go out to more quotes for the trees, or what are we doing?
I'm gonna call for some more quotes, let's hope. Please. Those are telephone call quotes kind of deal. I can make those. And I'll see if anybody responds.
So there's just super fast. There's 2 numbers for the pine trees. One is laying them on the ground,
Right.
with us cleaning them up, and the other one is with them cleaning them up.
Yep.
It's probably worth us cleaning up, but it's a lot of cleanup, and we just have to talk to Lou or someone and get
Right.
guys and saws
Mhm.
and bring equipment down. This is $1,000 to clean it up, but we could clean it up in 3 or 4 hours with 4 or 5 of us.
But
willing to say one, either one.
So I'll have to come back with some update on my success getting some sort of bid or quote from someone else. Okay, Doug, is 11 building permits issued? Big month, I suppose. $2,460 in fees collected. He's got 53 open permits and 20 plus site visits. Right now, we're back up to 150 active permits. We've collected $23,600 to date this year, and the waiting list for STR permits is 2 complete and 3 incomplete applications.
Where does it stand as far as the state taxation on them?
Okay, so the county is probably deciding to opt in, which means they will become the central register for county. The county had a presentation with some software guys who scrub sites and show, all types of rentals. It would seem to be a much better way, and I'm going to encourage the county to do it because it would be very helpful for the town to have them access. So we had a presentation last week in Elizabethtown where they showed us exactly the details of, and it isn't just Airbnb or the 3 main sites. They'll scrub. They can't scrub Facebook because that has privacy consideration. But if they have their own website or they do stuff like that, and it was a much more comprehensive report. And they used an example a couple places in Lake Placid, and I knew where they were and stuff like that. And the amount of information that they can get, they can tell you their sales. New York State will tell them because eventually, the people. If I were a short-term rental owner, I would worry about it, New York State sales tax people, because they're much more brutal about collecting sales tax than locals can be. So eventually they'll get all that information. So the county's going to opt in. They'll set up their own local law probably in the fall about local regulations and what they're going to adopt, because there's certain things in the state law that our local law doesn't quite cover. So we'll look at it and we'll all be able to keep our own registers like that. But it'll be much more helpful in terms of enforcement and collection of the bed tax money, because the county will get more involved in that. That's the direction they're tending, but who knows?
Thank
you.
Now, the state law is still not in effect, right? It's not.
Oh, they're collecting sales tax
They
now. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
Yeah. So no, it's so it's they've been they're supposed to have started collecting in March.
that's great because that will mean a lot more money for the county and some more money for Wilmington. But that money small amount of that money does come back to Wilmington. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Colin.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's event season upon us, and as such, I'm going to talk a little bit normal than I normally do. So we just had our first couple events. We had the 2 Fly, and we had 52 people from around the Northeast and Canada participate in that event. On the Thursday night kickoff party, we had between 180 to 200 people. The Hungry Trout Fly Tying Tour, which is a new add-on to that, had about 60 people. And the banquet had about 60 people as well. We were also able to incorporate Hot Falls Gorge for the first time. They opened up their river to participants only with a scorecard, and we had music there for the public to enjoy, and was very well received. And it was wonderful working with a different business in that regard, and all the businesses that helped out with that. The Hungry Trout and Evan Botcher's guide service were pretty critical. Above Social. It was neat to see how the town kind of helped out with this event in my first year. Jim Kelly donated wood, and the town park department made the parks look beautiful, and they delivered the wood to that, and really appreciative of that. Favor was there in the morning meeting people on the first day of registration. It was just kind of neat. It gives that like small town feel and touch to why people come to this area and come back to the event. year after year. It was great to see it for my first time, and also its 25th anniversary. And it was, so as you, it was really fun, and I appreciate everybody's help, and all the volunteers that helped out with that. We also just had our uphill races this past weekend. We had 282 bike riders and 60 runners registered for that race. And again, thanks to the town parks department for helping out with signage and where trash should go, and to the McGreevy's for helping me with what the event looks like, and helping with the aid stations and with registration, and Favor for helping out with it was sweep at that event. And that was kind of cool for participants to see our town supervisor like slinging water bottles into the pickup truck, at the end of a long day. And so it was great to be a part of that and to see the town get behind that. And with that being said, I'm learning a lot about events, and one thing I'm finding that's really important and is having a committee, a planning committee that is dedicated to helping, and volunteers. It's really important to have local volunteers, and you don't need to know what you're doing to be a volunteer. We'll help you, as event directors, be successful as a volunteer. And it's a great way to just meet people that are coming to this area and getting a different fresh perspective. Anyway, I really appreciate that. The next big event that's coming up is on June 21st, and it's the Whiskey Run. And Karen is really excited, and I know has been working very hard on that. And if you want to share anything on that, if that's okay, if I can pass it on to Karen. And I'm sorry to put you on the spotlight. If you
No problem.
Yeah, she's shy.
Yeah. If you don't, you don't have anything to say. That's fine.
We had our meeting last week, not our last meeting, but meeting last week, and everything seems to be set. We are still looking for raffles and swag, if anybody wants to do that for our, for the runners, swag for the runners, to in their bags. We're expecting about 350. For a little historical society, we're doing pretty darn good. And there are people who are coming from, like everywhere, from California to Florida to, the PR is all out there, and that's from, Adirondack Coast Events is the timing, race timing, but they do a great job also. Roost has also done a really good job of helping us with publicity for that, this year. And they put even on the national
They've been very helpful too.
registration. They've been very, very helpful for us this year. And the PR is like everywhere. The newspapers are going to do the Adirondack Daily Enterprise is going to do either a full or half page article this next week on the Whiskey Festival. It's in all of the local newspapers, it's on Facebook and everywhere, so.
Radio,
Thank you. I
TV.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
The next thing, I do have a bunch of things. I'm just going to keep moving through so that to respect everybody's time. Thank you for your patience. I have a question.
Can I just ask Karen a quick question?
Sure.
Sorry.
Please. No, don't
I
be
was
sorry.
looking for the right number, but rather than waiting till I find the right number, I'll just ask, are you expecting the Parks Department a similar hourly contribution as last year?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
All right, thank you, Tim. And so the next one I have is a question for you guys as the board, and maybe Carissa. I'm just going to put it, and we can talk about it at another time. The Thursday night concert series.
Yes.
Has there been an announcement that's been put out about that? And if not, do you want me to do that announcement for like all the dates for the musicians and put it out there? That's the question.
I think
No, that was last year's that somehow got out from it.
Oh.
Yeah. So there hasn't been this year's
No.
yet, so I just have, I
We noticed it
yeah.
came out under the visitors bureau today, but it came out as last year. Is it sort of memory? I think it came out
I
under the
put it
visitors.
out.
No, we noticed that, so we need to, yeah.
I think we discussed this before. I think Nicole had wanted to.
I think we're talking about two different things. As for one, you're talking about booking acts, and he's talking about publicity.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
So
Yes.
they're already booked?
So where it left off, to fill everyone in and get everybody on the same page, sorry, is I was tasked, I believe in October, to find the music for the summer. And I got half the bands booked and used up half the budget, and before it was passed on to Carissa. I sent Carissa in favor a very detailed email, mostly concerned about the artists I had already booked and protecting their dates. And they were all confirmed, okay? And so I only have half the dates that I gave, and it was on Carissa and the town, I believe, to book the rest of the dates.
Yeah, and we have, Carissa has.
great.
It's
So
the question I asked, did anybody mock up a schedule for the summer season? I don't know the answer to that question. I seem to remember somebody showing me something,
Okay.
but I haven't passed on it yet.
I just want to make sure that, because, they're cool, they're great musicians, I want to make sure that there's enough time for people to plan their schedules. So just let me know. I'm happy to do, I have half the music already. I need the other half, and I can push that out.
I'll call you tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow with what.
Great.
I
Thank you.
haven't gotten any emails or anything about any of
Right.
this, so.
Yeah, it's a fun, community event that I want to make, and I know people have been asking, so that's what.
Yeah, my aunt comes in from town, from
Yeah.
Saratoga for it, so,
Yeah, I
yeah,
know, it's such a beautiful spot.
that's great.
Yeah, anyway, so thank you.
Colleen, what's the first week of the?
Good question. I don't have that in my notes, so I can get back to you. I don't know.
Well, I think just to tie up what we were saying, I think we all want you to publicize it as soon as possible.
Okay, I will do that tomorrow. Well, I will get half the bits.
He's
The
gonna
person
get,
gives me
he's
the
gonna
other
give me
bit.
information.
Yeah. So I'll reach out to Carissa in favor, and we'll take care of it by tomorrow. That will be taken care of. Thank you. So then after that is the Music Fest on July 26th, and that's going really well. And just going back to having a planning committee that's working hard and meeting every month, and that's something I've learned moving forward for these events to be successful. We all need planning committees, and that seems to be moving along quite nicely. And Darren, do you have anything you want to add to that? I'm gonna pass the time over to you.
Everything's booked.
Yeah.
Times are set.
Yeah.
Tickets are for sale.
And yes.
Posters. You did a great job today, which I do want to talk to you about that. It was, maybe I'll catch you after the meeting if you're still here. So.
Great, yeah, and so the insurance is what I've been working on today with Carla, with the, all the things that we have, and it's all in time, this is when it was supposed to happen, the insurance, it's not out of time, we got plenty of time to do it. But it's fun to be planning insurance for this kind of thing with Carla, because there's a lot of moving pieces. Then we have our festival, then we have our town garage sale coming up. And that is, excuse me, I just gotta get my notes here. The town garage sale, so make sure you start saving your stuff, is Saturday, August 9th, okay? And then on the 16th is the 11th annual Wilmington Get Together. On the 29th through the 31st is the Mountain Bike Festival, and I've been meeting monthly with that team, and it's gonna be really another nice, very nicely run festival. On the September 13th, we're going to have the 20th anniversary of the Festival of Fall Colors, and so far I have 18 vendors and 4 food trucks signed up for that. I got a band booked, I'm pretty excited about. And then I wanted to now spend the rest of this time, and again, I know I've been long talking about a potential very exciting new event that I'd like to just put into your conscious attention, and that is on October 1st through the 5th, UCI World Cup mountain biking is coming to this region, with the majority of it being in Whiteface Mountain. And so, I the only way I can convey the excitement that I have for this is to harken back to my 16-year-old self, who was a mountain biker on the 16, 30, 40 years ago, biking in Pennsylvania, on horse trails and whatever, sidewalks. And now I live here and I go out in my backyard and I'm in like Narnia, like with a G, Narnia. And it's like the best mountain biking ever. And so my 53-year-old self is saying to my 16-year-old self, with all these cool events going on, living a dream. And I'd like to share that all with you. And I'd say that this event is going to be pretty amazing that's coming to this town. I checked in with my son, who is he's got his finger on the pulse of this. He's 16, he's a mountain biker. He helps out, does the Hard Kids mountain bike race. He loves it. He's always in the pump track. And I told him this was coming, and he's like, what? He's really, really excited. And he was like, there's going to be a lot of people here. And I'm hearing as many potentially as the Olympics. And so there's a lot of planning and some great opportunities for this town. I'm thinking about adding maybe a few events to help with that, just for your consideration. Aaron, if you have questions, could probably speak more to the details of this, as he's been involved with a lot of different planning things. I've just, been given some information about it. But we're gonna, I'm gonna be reaching out to our local mountain bike committee and hopefully kind of getting some more rides. And I'd love to get shuttles if possible. I know you have to, let me just finish, and maybe some music as well. And this is all TBD but again, to get this running and being done well, we'll need volunteers. And we'll need committees and we'll need people. That's it. And you don't need to know how to mountain bike. You just need to love this town. That's it. That's all I got. And I know you have questions, so I'm happy to try to answer them.
You think you'll be on the job in October?
I think I would like to be on the job in October, and that's.
I hope you are.
Yeah.
I hope you are.
Yeah.
I want you to be.
Okay.
Yep.
Aaron, did you have any follow-up with that?
Well, I think, just those who know me, I'm Aaron Kella, and the general manager, Whiteface. I know pretty much most people in the room, but this will be the biggest event that Whiteface has held since the Olympics. Just when you're talking spectator-wise, so it's something new for us. It's our biggest high-profile summer event that we've ever had. And, when you look at the community of Wilmington and the investments in the properties and mountain biking as a whole, it really ties in to what the community is doing. So I think there's also a lot of opportunities for the community to welcome this group that may not be here. And within the schedule, so the training and inspection and everything is kind of like midweek, and then Saturday is the largest event of the series. So Lake Placid is going to have an event on Friday and Sunday, just like they did last year. So the cross-country events are in Lake Placid at Mount Van Hovenberg. And then Saturday is the big event at Lake Placid. So, it's a major operation, lots of planning, lots of everything going into it. We're still working out the plans for shuttles and transportation. We know that we don't have enough capacity to park cars here, so we're hopefully working with all of the communities to have it be more of an opportunity for them than just an inconvenience. So there will be a lot of bikers here. There will be opportunities to work together to really welcome them with open arms. And, we're super excited to do it. And an interesting part of it is, these dates, it's right after Oktoberfest. So we're going to be big weekend, Oktoberfest, following weekend, this event. But for the mountain biking community, the Oktoberfest weekend is U.S. Nationals at Killington. So all of the riders are going to be at Killington. Then they're going to head here for Whiteface and Wilmington's event. And then they go to Mount St. Anne in Quebec for the final event. So there's like a really 3-week block period here where there's going to be a lot of mountain bikers within 2 hours of us. Like the world's best mountain bikers are going to be here for almost a month. So it'll be pretty awesome for Whiteface.
Thank you, Colin.
Wait, just one last thing to mention, aside from this, after this event is done, there's going to be a downhill trail at Whiteface Mountain. or mountain bikers. Aaron, is that correct? No?
Not yet. We're trying to work our way through
Okay.
public operation.
Yeah,
We're-
never mind then. Yeah, glad you were here.
That's it. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's on time.
Be sure.
Thank you. Spectator number estimates? guesses?
Early estimates around 8,000 to 10,000 spectators.
Wow, yes,
So, yeah.
Good.
wow.
So, yeah,
That's paid entrance for everyone, paid parking on site for everyone. Keeping the price relatively low so that people can get in that want to be here. But these events draw a lot of people. A lot of people that are invested in mountain biking.
And what kinds of things do mountain bikers like to spend money on? Do you have a?
Beer.
Now, that is exactly right.
Camping, they like to camp.
Yeah, they'll come, they'll camp, they'll drink some beer, they'll like to hang out, just like the Bike Fest crew, similar crew, it's just coming from a different geographic location, come into Wilmington. So Wilmington already has a community of mountain bikers that just the same people from different places. But they like to do the same things and are very invested in their sport.
And I can speak from the restaurant business. This past weekend, we were packed on the restaurants and the boats. And we were talking large parties, 10, 12, 7 parties. We had large parties, 15, so we were packed in restaurants.
Did anybody want to, everyone okay? Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your-
Amy, I hate to do this, but
Oh, I'm sorry. This will be an annual event or is this a one-time event?
We are in 2-year contract right now, so it's a 3-year contract. Downhill's the last 2 years of the contract. And then we're looking at potentially extending, depending on how everything goes. But the event in Lake Placid was one of the premier events in the world.
okay. Thank you.
Really like it here.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Amy?
I have a couple things I wanted to ask really quick. I wanted to see about getting a phone at the youth center for the summer program.
Yes.
I'm hoping to get started, July 8th,
Okay.
so the 2nd week of July.
Right.
I would like to have a phone up there. I feel like the girls shouldn't have to use their cell phone if they need to contact a parent, or if a parent needed to contact, they have a phone that they can use for emergencies or something. It would be nice to have a phone up there, and maybe even like a, like a voice, or, where the parents can use a message.
Right.
Somebody else is gonna be picking them up, or something like that happened.
Okay.
I thought that we discussed this, isn't there? I thought there was already a phone there.
May be working, but there isn't a phone up there.
There's no physical phone.
It's the other way. There's a phone up there, the phone's not working. I talked to Faber about getting a Frontier.
Oh,
Because we talked about this at the town budget time, the town has been paying for a phone line. Is that
And it
okay?
but we have never been able to use it. So I just wanted to bring it up. It would be nice to have it there for the girls, so they're not using their personal cell phones and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think, maybe I'm old fashioned, but a landline is always the best backup. And if the kid's cell phone doesn't work and they want to pick up a phone, call home or something like that, but the phone be made available. I thought so. I was hoping we can keep it through the skating season as well.
I thought that was.
Yeah, kids who are up there skating and they don't, suddenly they can go use their phone.
And maybe some kids that don't have cell phones. Or
Yeah.
Emergency, something like that. So, going off that, is it possible, I know we have the AED for the beach, but we don't have one for the park.
We're gonna get you one.
Okay,
I've talked to Chris and Charlie about getting one up there.
okay. And then, so I wanted to talk about, I haven't talked to the girls or with you guys much. We've been super busy, all the things going on.
Yeah.
We decide on 3 days a week.
Okay?
Is that everyone okay with
Right
that?
now, we have two full-time people, and when we have a recent applicant who's come in, who may be a backup, a youngish counselor. Was looking necessarily to, maybe move to the beach, but I may talk to this person about helping out with the youth program.
Perfect. Well, that was my other thing. We initially had talked about 3 staff, and you guys had approved 3 staff. So we had the 2. You guys had told me we had the 2.
Yep.
But I'm really, even if we could get, a younger one in there or somebody, a 3rd person, because if there's a call out or somebody gets sick, you can't have a program that day. So we technically have to cancel. And I don't know who to make that phone call that morning. But for a safety reason, if somebody gets hurt or one person wants to take 5 people to the library. Because I did talk to the library a little bit, and we have 21 to 25 kids now, and we can't take 25 kids to the library.
No.
So I had talked a little bit to Wendy and Sam, and if we had 3, it would be nicer to take one person to take 5 down there.
Tim, you had a question?
Well, she answered it, but my follow-up question is, will there be a cutoff, or are you just, at the moment, just allowing as many people to register as want to and see how many people want to?
Well, so right now, it's basically, I've just got an interest. I haven't signed anybody up for it yet. I did talk to Chris about that a couple weeks ago. I said, is it okay to start my sign up? Because I usually do the official sign up. I do a Google Docs and everything goes on a spreadsheet so the girls have it. So I haven't done that yet, but I have 21, possibly 25 kids.
Okay.
With 2 staff.
Right. No, I'm somewhat optimistic that I can talk to this recent applicant. I just got the application yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
So it seems like it's a fit. Teaches at Whiteface, which means first bit will be teaching kids at Whiteface, because I don't think anybody automatically goes to adults when they're young. So I'll have a chat with them about that.
Okay. So my thought, I'll give you my thought on that. Is so I would like to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
Meaning because a lot of people take off from Friday and go on a long vacation in the summer. So we're utilizing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so maybe all the kids can attend. Or if even the counselors can be going, I know there were little vacations last year.
Oh,
that we
geez,
can work around. So
that group.
if that would work, and then also we would be able to stagger the staff. So maybe we could even get longer hours in, or maybe we can come in at 7:30, dropped off early, go home at
7:30, somewhat optimistic given the age range of the people who are applying for work. So I'll say, yeah, okay. If you would email me and Carissa what your proposed schedule is, and start the the process of identifying who's interested so far. This one sort of we were very short about a week or so ago, lifeguards. And now suddenly people are coming in and applying, and we may, we'll have a beach. We can have maybe 3 lifeguards or 4 on a really busy day, and the applicants I'm pretty happy about. So yeah, we're getting lucky to the extent that people are applying for work, and they seem somewhat suitable for that. So last year, one of the other things, so one of our applicants went and did the first aid life CPR course, which I did as well, because I sort of see it as in pinch, I'd like getting out from behind a desk, and if they need somebody to take them to the library, I'll go, kind of stuff. So I'll have sort of applied for the sort of the backup position as well. But that's primarily because I was looking at I didn't know who was, what was going to happen with the beach either. But so far so good. I can give a Camp Placid update if you want, but if we get something else you want to talk about first, I can hold off if you want to bring that up.
One more thing was transportation. I usually, I said usually, it's only been a couple years, but kind of get with the girls ahead of time.
Right.
And kind of talk about a schedule throughout the day, or maybe some trips they want to take. And we had reached out to the school before, we had asked, and I
Yeah.
asked.
Disappointed.
Aaron was here, I was gonna mention maybe Whiteface, if they had a shuttle, and.
Well, I don't know whether Aaron heard about this, but I had talked to Ashley about getting a couple of white-faced buses. She said she'd get in touch with us, but I'm not trying to, perhaps a trip to Van Hoverberg for our kids. I'm also trying to get my own, you have to get yourself, it's not quite CDL, but, sort of written up so I could drive a bus too. So.
Or just, I don't know how Whiteface would feel
What's it
about that, or it's just a lot, it's just transportation.
That's
even so they can go to the beach in the afternoon, or, just around town, or go to, high ball sport, or.
Right, well, when you have 25, that's a different number.
Or it would be a couple trips.
Yeah, but I'm just, go ahead, Karen.
On July 8th, I think, I don't know what day of the week it is. It's a Tuesday. The Wilmington Historical Society is having a program here called Genealogy for Kids. Ages 6 to 12, maximum of 10 kids. So if some of your kids might want to walk over. They have to register ahead of time, but.
So yeah, there was a couple of things, and then I also noticed that NICEF had a van for sale, and I didn't know if that was something maybe we could think about as a purchase for, shuttling, whether it's just for the kids or for whatever the town needed. Is that maybe something, I don't know what kind of shape it is in, but I did see that if we didn't have any options, maybe that was something we could think about.
Well, can I say, your committee, you and Margie and the rest of the committee, I mean, we thank you again. You've done a great job, and this is all volunteer. And you've also done a great job, excellent job raising money. You have tens of thousands of dollars, like I want to say 15,000 around there. So I'm not sure how willing you would be to spend that on transportation. I know transportation has been an issue for the organization. So I just want to say again, from the whole town, thank you for doing such a good job. And maybe that could be an option. If that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely think about it. We haven't really spent any of the money yet in the past couple of years, and I thought we could do some fun trips this year, even like at the end of the year, maybe do the greatest escape or something where we purchase tickets and, do something. Because we haven't really done too much any trips or anything like that, but I just want to throw out the transportation thing, maybe if you can reach out, or I can reach out to a couple places and see, but I also want to talk to you.
We could put our best people on it. Because, at the end of the month, what the board is going to be sitting down and doing is, figuring out, we have, some funds and a fund balance. And we've asked departments to come forward with ideas on what kind of accounts, reserve accounts they would like to establish for some of that fund balance. And this may be included among them.
I just want to mention, as is the case with many other local organizations, the youth committee is looking for more people to get involved. So there's definitely
We're always looking for volunteers.
I know I sound like a Don McLean record skipping saying that, but it's important.
But yeah, so
Well, I heard somebody came in today to show me the emails they had gotten telling them that there were no Wilmington kids, and then allowed, and then it was walked back. It was walked back, because of some discussions that were had about cheap and miserly like Placid is, that they're taking such a hard line with kids from Wilmington who are in the school district. So I'm waiting to hear back. What I did was I gave them an estimate of the number of kids we would expect who would want to be in the Camp Placid program. And then I will probably come back to the board because they're gonna give us a number.
So I received
Mhm.
an email from you with signed up. So I don't know if that was an accident. I don't know.
No, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what to do with that yet because I'm not sure.
just go for it. Yeah, the towns can clean this stuff up. That shouldn't have been done that way. It's an easy thing to do to say, gee whiz, you got 5 kids from Wilmington who are gonna come back every year. We're changing our rules a little bit. What can you do to help us out? And the town could sit there and say, oh, yeah, okay. You need a little money? Okay, we can budget for that. That kind of stuff. But to sit there and change the rules in the middle of, after years of kids who've been going to the program and parents who followed the program and did everything, then suddenly they became very scrupulous about their policies and procedures. And the emails sent out weren't particularly direct and brutal. And so, I went up and got mad in front of them, but in any event, it's disappointing. In Lake Placid Central School, I'm disappointed in that group too, so I'll be talking to their board one of these days. So, but that's me, I'm mad at them, so.
You have some new rules and a lot of people sort of will go for 1 week and then will go for 2 weeks. And that's kind of what they're trying to keep away from.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, so the person who dropped by today got waitlisted, so you're doing okay.
I think I was one of the first to get.
He got waitlisted. He got waitlisted, too bad. But anyway. Okay.
So if you don't go for 2 consecutive days without somebody in the wait list.
Right. Okay.
So is it okay do you want to talk more about this before I send out some sign up forms that I usually do?
What, if you could contact us with your dates
Okay.
and then your anticipated thing, I have to try to firm up with the third person. It's June 10th. We'll be proceeding on.
Okay.
And that way, what'll happen is, Chris is much better organized at keeping a file going. She gave me the file tonight with all the names and stuff in it, just in case.
For the summer program?
Yeah.
For the interest?
Yeah, so eventually if you come down and chat, we'll talk to them. We'll talk to you about these people. Yes, Sam. Sam.
All right, Lake Placid doesn't want the kids from Wilmington in their program. Maybe they should be providing bus, if we need a bus for transportation of our program.
It's a good point.
Oh,
Good point.
hey,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
I mean, you got buses running around all the time and
Okay.
for what few trips the kids would need here in town, I would think.
Well, there
Lake
are
Placid
I think there
sends them a
are
bus.
4 banners going up this year.
Hmm?
4 banners going up this year for the graduates. It's not a very big
Wow.
group of
Oh,
kids. Yeah. So,
Oh, I did want to ask about, I noticed that there's new speed bumps.
yes,
And is it possible to get another one like further up? Because I usually barricade like around the front door for the summer program because people can drive right through there. I'm just worried kids are gonna run out. So I usually put cones around it. I'm wondering if we put another speed bump more at the top.
Lou, at the last meeting, I expressed surprise that they were already up, because Louis wouldn't put them up. That's fine. We'll ask Louis to do it again if you designate somewhere up there.
And I'll put the cones around in front of the door again this year, unless we can find another way, but I just kind of want to keep cars away from driving right in front of the door. of the youth center.
Okay. Well, we'll discuss it, and if speed bumps seem the way to go, then
Okay.
we'll try to find
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, that's a lot of reporting. Now the reports from the board members. Tim.
Maybe we could have separate meetings for reports.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut mine short.
I have a long report this month. I'll try to be short next month. Some months I say almost nothing, but. So I think probably as most people here know, Greg Lynch and Shirley Lawrence both passed away in the past few months. I'd like to make a resolution that we name the picnic area after Greg and the pavilion at the beach after Shirley. I think that'd be appropriate. They both worked for the town for decades, roughly 60 years together. I know their families, their kids want it. I've been contacted about it more than once, and I think it would be completely appropriate to do. So I'd like to make that motion.
Didn't we already talk about this at the work session? I'm not sure why it's getting wrote about that.
Okay, I can respond to that if you like.
Sure.
Does anyone want to second that motion?
I'll second for discussion.
Because I thought we already voted on it then.
We didn't. We just discussed it.
I'm sure we did.
Also, I didn't have the idea of naming the pavilion after Shirley.
Well, so, okay, so there's a second for discussion. We're discussing. Again, I think, we're repeating what we were saying on the last meeting, which is naming things after people is one thing. Setting up, Gina talked about a memorial type of thing, and we could plant trees for people and put plaques in front of them. And there are a lot of other options because we're selecting two longtime employees and then community members and volunteers. But we have people who have passed away long ago, who were, equally committed to the community as well. And so I find it sort of, we're naming things now without actually following a particular plan.
I don't think initiating something new is such a bad thing, and it is a long amount of time to be a town employee. And, it could be, we could set it for a years of service. If you've served for the town for a certain amount of years as an employee for the town, then that could be something moving forward. And have the memorial spot for someone that hasn't met those years but still has contributed to the town.
I'm going with what I said to begin with. I think we should do some type of a wall walkway or something where we can all honor everybody that do a dedication. I don't know with my original plan.
And like we talked last month,
I agree that did a lot of service. I agree that they were well respected. I agree 100% that they dedicated a lot of time, but so did a lot of other individuals like Aunt Jane. And the list goes on and on and on. Goes on. I can go through a whole list and go down right through everybody. I just think that picking one thing and naming it after a person, I just feel that we should be able to do like one spot and dedicate it to everybody and do a memorial that way. And that's my opinion. I just, we have a lot of people that have passed previously, I can name lots of people in the past that I think this wall and stuff would be dedicated to as well, that we can remember them as well. I think there's just so many that we can do it that, and that's where I stand.
So we do have a lot of things named after people. We have Lake Everest, the beaches, Bowman Lane, which is named after a guy who ran a summer camp in Wilmington for a few years. We're talking about 60 years.
And I wasn't here. I wasn't on this board. I didn't have anything to do with that decision. I'm just telling you what my vote is right now, what I am suggesting. I can't change what happened in the past. I can only make my decision now on what I think and what I feel and what I'm presenting on my end.
Well, we can't, we'll go to a vote when Laura gets back.
I just also, there are so many, if we think that other people should be honored and future boards think that other people should be honored, we have this room, we have the town offices, we have the community garden, we have the park building, we have the skate park, the playground, the basketball court, tennis court, pump track, Park Road, Heritage Park, Visitors Bureau building, the bridge, the dam pocket park, the beach itself, the beach playground, the boat launch and public fishing area, Juniper Hill Road, Indian Rock Road, Hollow Lane, Pine Ridge Road, Rocky Ridge Road, Reservoir Road, Mountain Lane Road, Osable Run
They all have
Lane.
names.
Church Road.
He's got it listed down
They're
there.
all
so-
names.
so-
And all the
have
multi-use
names.
trails. So, what's that?
Well, if you're naming off roads that have names.
They're not named after people. If we want to honor people, that is a long list, and that is a list I came up with in probably 15 minutes of things we could name after particular community members.
So we change a road name to honor somebody that had nothing to do with the road? I'm completely confused.
So I just feel at this point, this is just nitpicking. There's one argument advanced where we think other people should be honored. I'm saying if we want to honor other people, there's a lot of things we can name after other people. And
This is a board decision that we're making.
No, yeah, okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? No, which is us. Thank you, Colin. Okay, let's do a roll call then.
Okay, yes.
I need to know what the resolution is first.
To name the picnic area at the beach, Greg Lynch Park, and to name, to put a plaque on the pavilion in honor of Shirley Lawrence with text to be determined at a future meeting, the additional text. And
Okay.
The text for Greg would be in honor of a public servant, family man, and pillar of his community. And similar text for Shirley.
Okay, so you're making it, Tim?
Yes.
Laura seconded. Roll call vote.
Okay, Tim,
Yes.
Darren,
No, and I would like a chance to explain because I wasn't even able to talk really during that. I'm gonna go along with Tina because, there's hundreds of people, Franny Lawrence for one, Calvin Stevens, Nick Stevenson. There's 3 people that have relatives right in this room that weren't honored in any such way. And I don't understand why we would get into the point of naming certain areas after certain people when there's been many other deserving people. I would be willing to, for example, something similar to Tina's idea where we have the beach pavilion and there's, 8 poles on it. And for each employee that's served a certain amount of time, put a brass plaque or something on each one of those poles and list it down, and we'd have plenty of room to do something like that. But I'm not in favor of changing names of our park areas at this time, so no.
I think we can.
Nope.
I think we can do both.
Laura,
If we're speaking about our vote, I'm going to say yes, but I'm also going to say, just because it's just being brought up now doesn't mean we can't go backwards in time and, name things after people who have put in. There's no reason we can't go backwards and say, also this is a request of a family member or family members of this person. It's, not some arbitrary request. It's a pointed request. So I stand by my vote.
Tina?
No.
Ever?
No.
Okay. Just want to point out that the Daily Enterprise has been covering, I may have mentioned this at a previous meeting, Saranac Lake has updated their STR law and amended it. They put in a cap of 130 permits for the next year, and they differentiate between hosted and unhosted STRs. And I really think that is the way forward, and that's what should be done in towns around here, because no one objects to the hosted rentals. They don't cause the issues. I want to mention again that we're still looking for another assessor, which is a paid job, and we're also looking for a member of the Board of Assessment Review. So
2 members.
we're looking for 2 members of the Board of Assessment Review. So if anyone likes assessing and wants to get paid to assess, we've talked for nearly a year, maybe counting this meeting a year, about a facility use fee, and that's never been resolved. And to basically echoes Laura's proposal from a previous meeting, I'd like to just, for events that are fundraisers or require labor from the Parks Department, I'd just like to set a flat fee of $100 a day plus reimbursement for half of the cost of the Parks Department's labor. And I think that is how we should go forward. I know this is a long meeting, so I won't make a motion on that. But then again, maybe I should, since we are in event season. I guess I can cede the floor to the rest of the board if anyone has thoughts.
I mean, I will say that I spent all last year beating my head against the wall, trying to get a permit fee system going. We, this year, decided we're going to invite individual applicants who want to come and use our town facilities to come and talk to the board. That's kind of the way we've done it. If individual comes up and you want to sit there and say, as a board, we should be charging you X, we want $100 a day, we want one half of this, we can do that. But we have not adopted any kind of policy, any kind of permit fee structure. And I'm seeing how we're going to get it done tonight's meeting. Also, these aren't surprises, and it would be, if you want to, introduce it at the next type of meeting, just put it on the agenda, please, so that we can talk about it at that time too. So you're for me.
I'm concerned. Well, we don't want to be in a position where one organization, we charge a fee, and the next pretty similar organization, we say we're not charging any fee, and you can use 70 hours of the Parks Department's time, and that's just, and we know who pays for that time. So I would like it to be uniform. I mean, I think that's just common sense, that it should be as uniform as possible. I do think maybe we can put in like some sort of special circumstances language in whatever the resolution would be for truly unique circumstances that maybe are different than any other event where, for whatever reason, there shouldn't be a fee. I'm talking, an event where there is no fundraising component and it requires minimal town time, but they want 2 hours from the Parks Department. I would think we could waive any fee for that, possible. But I would think it should be pretty uniform. Well, I can see there's a lot of support for that, so I'll move on. Mary Carroll, we agreed to buy a computer for her and pay for a subscription to Ancestry.com for her. The computer she wants is around $700. I think that Mary Carroll is the town historian, so that none of this makes sense without knowing that. So she wants a new computer for her work as town historian to keep that separate from her personal files. And she found a computer that's only $700, which seems very inexpensive to me. I believe the Ancestry subscription is $400. So should I make that resolution that we approve that? It has been approved in the past, but she didn't buy the computer or get the subscription. So should I make that motion, and then she can bring receipts and be reimbursed?
I did hand out copies of the computer that she was interested in, as well as the email amount of the subscription to Ancestry she would like to have. What's that?
That should be able to be purchased right through Nicole. Yeah,
That's
important that way.
Yeah, that's right. I'm showing it
can
to.
order it.
Yeah, we can order that stuff. It's enough that we can just approve it tonight.
Yep.
And then we'll go get it. Again, this will be when you look at the operating statement, we'll have to address a shift in the budget amount, at the end of the month. We'll move money in it to cover it. That's kind of my idea. Because it's a little more than the $500 that's in the budget. But that's all right. So yes, Tim's made the motion to authorize us to purchase that on behalf of Mary, and that it will come out of the historian.
I'll second that.
Tim made the motion, you second. Any further discussion?
You said it would come out of the historian line item?
Yeah. And then at the end of the month, we'll have to adjust it because it'll be over budget.
Got it.
So roll call, please.
Yes.
Darren,
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Tina?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Thus concludes my report.
Okay, Darren.
One of the things that I'm kind of concerned with is we've had a First Amendment auditor coming around town in the town hall, in our visitors bureau, in our highway garages and stuff. And one of the things when I watched the video is we need some signs to keep them out of certain areas, like employees only. Because one of the things said as he was going around, oh, well, this door is wide open and there's no employee only sign, so it looks like I can go in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some employee only signs need to be purchased for most of our buildings.
Right.
To go behind the judge's chamber.
Oh, yeah.
There's multiple areas where these should be put, because basically without that, it's public property and he feels like he can go anywhere that he wishes without those signs. So I don't know what those signs would cost. Maybe we can talk to the county, but I think it's a very beneficial town thing to not have somebody going up behind the judge's stand and things like that without at least a sign notifying them that that's an employee access only area. So I don't know how we make a resolution, if we have to make a resolution, but I think that's a thing that needs to be done sooner than later.
I think it's not just that, it's not the budget stuff, it's town policy to put up signs in that fashion. Yeah, they came in yesterday with a FOIL request looking for my oath of office, all written complaints against me, copies of the contract between the town and the Visitors Bureau, copies of any records that we may have regarding the maintenance that we've done on the Visitors Bureau.
This person?
Yep.
The one that you're referring to?
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's been here twice.
Yeah, and he visited Keene 3 times apparently recently, something like that. Tina just
I
told
got
us.
in 4 o'clock this afternoon for the third time.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, I met with Billy Jones about a week or so ago, and there was 2 topics, but the second topic was I find it's a problem for small municipalities we don't have a police force, we don't have, and the district attorneys have enough on their plate. I mean, our district attorney's down 2 or 3 assistant district attorneys, they don't have enough time to do that. Seems to me that this person is crossing county lines is something that the Attorney General's office might be interested in, because it's harassment.
No, you can't, if I interrupt for a minute, you can't really call the police, because we talked to the sheriffs today, because we had a little bit of an incident,
Yeah.
and the sheriff said to us, just be cordial and answer it and do everything that you've been doing, because they can do what they're doing, because when they stopped one of the sheriff's cars, they came right up and asked what he was stopping for and what's going on.
Just meant that. Tim, you had about somebody like that?
I mean, no, I can wait. My questions are vague.
The thing is, guys, I know it's really tempting to go onto that site. Don't go onto his site. Because when you do, he gets money for the views. It's one of those kind of things. So the more you talk about it, the more people are gonna go on it. And he's gonna make money off us, which I don't want him making any money off me. So don't, when you talk about it amongst yourselves, but tell your friends, don't go to the site. If we don't click on him, he doesn't make any money, and he'll eventually get tired of coming to Wilmington.
Does anyone want to clarify what we're talking
So-
about?
Okay,
I can.
it's the First Amendment.
His name is Daniel Warmis, and he's a First Amendment person. He's also a January 6th insurrectionist. He was there during that and was arrested for that. He, like Don said, he has a website and he has a lot of followers whose lights are dim and they shine brighter by harassing other people. That's my only way to put it, unfortunately. And I had that one video taken down because it had over 17,000 views, so they do make a lot of money doing this and harassing people. People like watching public officials being bothered. Unfortunately,
Where's
it's
he
sad.
from? Is he from Wilmington?
He's not from Wilmington, he's from here, I don't know where,
Erie
Erie County, yes.
That's where
And
he's
so he's
Erie
been
County.
bothering
Erie County?
town employees and state troopers, and he came into
It's
the
Attorney General.
and bothered me.
Have a word with them.
What's that?
It's harassment.
It is harassment,
You know-
and then I asked him politely not to film me, and then asked him, I said to him before I left, I'm like, I really hope you
No, I
don't
don't think
post
we
this
tried
to make
that
your light shine brighter, in some way, and he did just that. And didn't get a chance to, didn't notice until like 4 days in the middle of the event, so how did I know? Yeah, but a lot of people did.
So just to move on from that, I think that we should look into getting signs to restrict these areas so he can't just wander throughout our buildings.
Okay.
At least if there's employee access or employee
No,
only
I got
signs.
it, Tony.
Will that stop him?
You can't enter an area if it's employee only.
Oh, okay. I don't know the rules, I'm sorry.
I mean, obviously, like he could come into the town hall reception area, but like he wouldn't be able to, like on the video, like he went into this kitchen and stuff. He went like towards the judge's area, and he could have went up there if there wasn't a sign, but he didn't, luckily. But I mean,
We had
those
told him
signs
he
would
couldn't
stop
go.
them,
We told him he couldn't go up there.
right? But
Judicial law, that's judges.
When I asked him to stop filming, because he invited me to leave the building. That's work to do.
for example, even at the visitors bureau, the front area is for people when they come in. The back area is Colin and employee only, and he went back there and started videotaping and stuff. So, I think it is important to get those signs taken care of. Just to move on from that,
Can I ask a question? We have voting here on June 24th.
Mhm.
Is he able to come in?
he could show up anywhere.
You can show up anywhere.
Okay.
But, there's no bang for the buck in a way. Sort of the model that Don was talking about, it's the number of people who watch it and respond online. So it tends to be kind of a gotcha, I'm going to spring out and, provocateur, and so a regular voting day, what's the point of that? They're not going to get kind of the reaction they would hope to get because reactions generate views.
Yeah, I was just concerned about the voters, not just us who are but the voters who
Think you would
would
have
he
any,
be harassing the voters or?
I'm not sure he would, but, I don't know him. So I think the policy, so it's sort of a consensus here that we'll go out and try our best to put up employee-only signs to curtail this guy's access to stuff. Is that right? Yeah, fair? Okay.
and do we have like no authorized personnel like the highway garage?
Well, that's what
I mean,
employee
right now.
access, that type of thing, we need to get in
So,
all areas.
Yep.
Yeah, because I know where you don't know where the equipment is.
And something else there?
Well, it is on the agenda, but we can talk about it now because I was the one that brought it up last month. Colin mentioned the Music Fest. On here is Porta Johns, and the Porta Johns was a multifaceted discussion
Yes.
based on both our hiking areas and the Music Fest. So I wanted to get some clarification on that. And then, for the most part, that was going to be my report and things that we had to talk about.
So we have Porta Johns. So we ordered 4. We ordered 4 last year. This year, based on certain information that I received about the access at the Visitors Bureau, we moved one of our porta-johns from last year at a trailhead in Hardy Road to the Visitors Bureau because I wanted to come back to the board with an idea that maybe we two porta-johns at that particular location next to the Visitors Bureau might be a good idea. I went in on Memorial Day weekend, and they come and pick them up on Tuesdays, and it just wasn't that pleasant an experience on a Sunday afternoon on Memorial Day weekend. So maybe two porta-johns at that location would be okay. The ones that Darren's referring to is the porta-johns for the Music Fest. I don't remember the numbers offhand. John, do you remember? I'm sorry, you're sleeping. You're sleeping.
8 and less than 14.
No, but we have two handicaps. Two handicaps.
I believe it was 8.
I think.
Okay,
3
good. So,
handicaps,
okay.
3 hand washing stations, and
Okay.
6 other ones for a total of like in the neighborhood of $1,500 for the
Okay.
event.
Yeah. So we can I can get the prices for that, and then we can come back to that one. But I made my own view was, yeah, I'd rather have them using porta-johns and us providing porta-johns than the alternative. So anything else? I'm sorry.
Not really. John, we just had touched that too. We'll go over that list at the work session. John is getting a list together with some maintenance items around town. And there's lots of maintenance items and big ticket items coming up that we could be spending money on. We had a problem just here the other day with a breaker and the lights tripping, and there's lots of things that could be looked at and updated and kind of put our mind at ease because a lot of PM has not happened in this town in a lot of years.
Yeah. That ties in with the alarm system stuff too. Thank you. Laura.
So I was looking, when we were talking about fund balances, I was looking at the monthly reports that we got for the past, well, since I've been on the board. And I know we had made resolutions to transfer money from the fund balance into the different, water savings, general savings, blah, 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 blah. And then I was looking at the balances of each month's New York class account, and there were no increases in those accounts. So I reached out to Nicole at the end of May and asked her if any transfers had been made to those accounts for the past 2 years, and she said that there weren't. So I talked to her today and asked her, what's the fallout? Where are we falling out here? And she said that the resolutions happen here, but then she's not made aware of them. She has only got resolutions from 2023. So she has a book. So at any rate, what I did was I made a form that I was hoping the board could look at that would leave. So when we make a resolution to transfer money from a fund to another fund, it would be a transfer form, and then the board resolution would be on it. I'll pass it around. And then the description of the resolution, the date, the transfer of the money, and then signing. So the checks and balances. So the accounts clerk would sign when the transfer is complete. The town clerk would sign when the forms are completed and put in the minutes. And then the supervisor would also sign it. And then on the second page are the 3 resolutions that did not happen. So I'm making a resolution for these resolutions to happen. And to the tune of thousands of dollars.
Okay, yeah, so these are the ones, so you.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
So these are so this form I'm looking at looks like resolution 117203.
Yep.
And that wasn't then you have resolution 392024. So these, this isn't the same document, you put these together this way, right?
They're different years.
Different years, I'm just
They're
saying.
different, they are the actual resolutions copied from the minutes.
Okay. And so these are approved.
Yes.
Fun, fun. Sure, we'll use these. I think it's a good idea. And so one, I was saying that, you know, at the end of the month, we have all sorts of budget amendments we need to do. So, you know, we have the budget amendment. And then when we're doing the budget amendment, it may be the case that we'll be transferring funds from a specific reserve account or something that we set aside to help fix the balance in the budget. So we'll see how this works out with that. That's what I'm putting
I
it.
thought maybe we could fill it out at the close of the meeting, or Dawn could fill it out, and then it could be on Nicole's desk the next day, and then, you know, so that there is some follow through.
I usually make her copies of resolutions that have
Yeah,
to do with money.
I'm just telling you what she said, and she had a book from. And I told her I would be bringing in the book tonight.
That's very possible in this, huh?
So, it's okay. I wasn't here in 2023.
It was in actually December, like it was, I think, the end of.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they
Yeah.
typically would do is they would, so Eddie, for example, will come and ask towards the end of the year that certain money get put aside for his, you know, how he splits it up between his truck account and things like that. So, you know, resolution 45, that's fine.
I mean, we've already made these resolutions.
Yeah, no, so we're just trying to document them.
No, we're trying to make it happen, make the funds be transferred.
Implement.
They're
Oh.
not, they've never been transferred.
Oh, I get it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I'm not asking for resolutions for the
Okay,
transferring, or, yeah, I guess I am. I'm asking for what we resolved to come to fruition.
so, okay, so,
There's one for Dawn too.
no, I understand. This is the form.
Yep.
You want
Well,
us you want us to fill it out or adopt the form?
Case it out. This is, you don't have to decide right now, but these forms I just made up, but
Yeah, okay.
just, case it out.
But you,
Yeah.
want something to go to Nicole by tomorrow morning?
No, I'm
Okay,
saying,
fair enough.
when we make a
Okay,
resolution.
got it.
And when she make, in the moving of the system that she's gone through, when she makes a fund transfer,
Yeah.
it'll also print out.
Yeah, no, we use I approve transfers out of night class into the general fund. And she's got the transaction receipt
Yeah,
attached
she'll
to
be one
that.
of those, yeah.
So, you know,
With the
payroll.
new one she's
Whatever.
doing now, yep.
Thank you. Yeah, I like it. Thank you. Laura.
That's it.
Okay. Tina?
All I had was, library wanted to thank everybody that came and financially supported the Feed the Need to Read fundraiser at the Hungry Trout. That's one of the biggest fundraisers. They want to support everybody for that. And the Friends of the Library will be hosting a food, plant, and book sale on June 14th at the library. And if anybody wants to donate food items, the library does have containers if you'd like to pick them up. And the Third Thursday series went very well, the night series, well attended. And they will resume again in the fall. And if anybody has any special topic in mind, please feel free to contact either Sam or any of the board members. And as always, thank you for your support. And I was going to touch on the whiskey run, but we already did that. And registration starts at 8 to 9:15. I think it is.
Yes, for the day of registration.
Yep, day of registration. And the field opens at 11, is it?
The field opens at 11, we have between 40 and 50 vendors, 4 food trucks.
Yeah.
Moonshine Hollow music. And our ceremony at 12:15 for the Battle of Plattsburgh, the Battle of Plattsburgh. And the Plucky Rooster.
Thank you.
What day is the library book and food sale?
This coming Saturday, 14th.
Thanks.
You've got some terrific gardening books. Donated by,
I always have
I'm
money.
not gardening as much as I should. My report is, no, I think I've talked about pretty much everything I was going to report on. So, thank you. We did talk about the, as I said a little bit earlier, that we have two very seasoned and mature lifeguards who have applied for the lifeguard. They're both interested in being full-time. We have a part-time person who may be interested in, but is also, we don't have, last year we had a bunch of young people. And so we had calendared it to have an open 7 days a week, 3-person kind of coverage and 2 boat rental people. Last year, it turned out that, the coverage wasn't that great. They went on vacations, they went on trips, and they left early to go to college. So we ended up limping out of the season with just basically 1 lifeguard trying to heroically do everything. And that's just not right, having 1 lifeguard. So this year, I have 2 people who were committed to put in as many 40 hours a week. I have a younger person. We have the part-time 2-day-a-week youth commission counselor who's a lifeguard as well. And then, no, for us, it would be 2 days beach. You're asking for 3. So we'll try to work it out. I'm hoping it will be a 6-day-a-week, 2 to 3 lifeguard program. A couple of weeks ago, as I said, I wasn't confident we were going to much of anything, because if we don't have 2, we're in trouble. So it may work out that somebody else will come in between now. The beach is scheduled up. We've gotten our Department of Health permit. The application was submitted and they've passed on it. So it to be June 30th to September 1st would be the beach season, which is pretty much the same as last year. And it may be that when we work out the work schedule and the salaries and things like that, days will be 3, often it'll be 2, things like that. So it'll work out that we'll have a good idea of what, meeting the budget. And then we still have 2 young fellows who came back last year who did the boat rentals. And so that's the beach season. And as soon as I'll give you names and lists and things like that when we finally have that settled. Okay, next is the Wi-Fi access.
Can I ask you a non-controversial question?
I'll answer any question. Go ahead.
Okay. I know that you and Roy, I saw, are delegates to the Judicial Convention for the 4th Judicial District.
Yes.
Assembly 115th. And I'm just curious what that is. That's all.
Well, it used to be that it actually meant something. Because basically, judges, they would, it's kind of like asking people to interview who the candidate for a judge for a particular party would be. And so they would be there and go through it. And so we had a couple of these guys, and the Judicial Nominating Committee would be the one who recommended it to the party. That, okay, we think you should nominate, Christy Sprague as the Republican candidate. She's just elected. So that's all it did. My father served on the Republican Judicial Nominating Committee for years. Apparently it was a lot more fun.
Are you representatives of Essex County?
Well, yeah, I think just for the Republican Party. So
just interviewing candidates.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we do.
Okay.
No, it was a lot more fun. I was asked to go to one of them because my dad couldn't make it years ago. It was, rollicking. They were fighting about it. So that's that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Wi-Fi access. Okay, so this one is a bit of a request for we talked about a little bit before Karen was here. Last year, it became a bit of a disaster for the vendors, for the interfering. Okay. Anyway, so this year, I'd like to actually discuss whether the town wants to do, using community enhancement funds to make Wi-Fi available, not just at Festival Field, but at Heritage Park and things along those lines. It would be part of a tourist dollars. I mean, other communities are discussing it. This particular problem for Festival Field is it would be basically a bit of a backup. And so Carissa obtained a couple of quotes from Frontier. And if we approve it, she will be on the phone with them tomorrow to get them to put on the router system, and then they will install a little wire to go across the field, and there'll be a little pole that creates a Wi-Fi net. So it will help coverage over the field. The Marcy Field uses this for their farmers market in Keene. I'm recommending that we do this. We don't have to, obviously, they say no installation or equipment fees, no contract term. So if it's terrible, we can hopefully get us through a short season and we can cancel it. The other one, and Colin had provided me this, that's the future, is Starlink. That's way too expensive, but Starlink, I'm thinking to myself, we get a Starlink account and we move it. So we move it from, we want it up here. Right now, the youth center has Frontier Wi-Fi, internet access, whatever that's called, broadband. And I'm not sure how often that gets used up at the youth center. But we're paying, we keep the account going all year. But you get something like a Starlink and you could just move it from place to place based on, somebody could say, okay, we need to use it over here and take it out and set it up at a certain point. The whole discussion about getting ready for, so we have a big event at Whiteface. We have 7,000 people coming here. And the cell phone coverage it was a big argument at the county because they're trying to put in these mini poles from one part of Malfunction Junction in Keene and get them up to North Elba so they have more consistent coverage. And then I'm hearing about you can't even get coverage at the town hall in North Hudson because Verizon took its antenna and switched it closer towards the road. So they shifted the antenna, and so there's nothing over it. It's a mess. This would be, I think, a pretty sound idea for us to try out right now. Frontier's in town. It's right next door. It's not a big hookup for us. And as I said, the expense to us would be whatever plan we decide to sign up for. So that's my introduction to that. Any questions, comments, or?
I'd like to know what the signal base, where it sends the signal. I have fiber optic at my house. I can't even access it at the end of my driveway. I mean, you know what I mean? Is this when you say tunneling, that's just to put the line down? I have fiber optic running from
there would be a booster on the pole.
Oh, I didn't see that anywhere. Maybe it's in a separate email I didn't get.
I think it's based on discussions.
Okay.
Maybe we'll get, a clarification for that to you guys or a better description of what the service is.
I still feel like we should push for better cell phone service. I think this is a Band-Aid, and I really think it's, I'm not really in favor of it.
This is to benefit vendors at these events, right? That's the whole purpose of this, so they can do credit card transactions. That's all that this is. That's the sole reason that we're discussing this.
I don't know if it's the sole reason. I think it's a thing where people want to have The people who have cell services, like T-Mobile, forget it, you're not gonna get anywhere. If you have AT&T and let's say you're a family in town and you're sitting at the festival field and your cell service doesn't really work very well, it would be a Wi-Fi access for visitors as well. And that's the kind of community enhancement part that I'm looking at it. I'm not, don't mean to be doom and gloom, but we're never gonna get anything with cell phone services. And Jay doesn't even have it. And these guys, so it's just being realistic here.
We've reached out to them.
We've talked to everybody.
You have?
Yeah, well, I haven't. But I've on the part of the calls on these guys. I know what's happening. Yes, sir.
Well, in my experience, cell phone signal is okay. I mean, the farther you go down Springfield Road, the worse it gets. But if you are close to the center of town, it's functional, in my experience. And doesn't the library as well have free public Wi-Fi? So if someone really needed it, I mean,
Our library's not open that much.
but yes, but you can still get it from outside of the library.
Okay. So Karen, I'm sorry, if you want to.
Yeah, what
Just-
happened last year at Festival Field was, we had vendors and especially the whiskey vendors and, well, actually most of the vendors. In the morning, they couldn't do their the credit card thing. And, one whiskey vendor in particular had lost several $100s in the morning in just a couple of hours. He says, I came, and I spent the night and I bought food and all of this, and now I'm here and now I'm not making any money. And he was really upset.
He couldn't take cash?
I'm sorry?
Why couldn't he take cash?
Because people don't carry that
He has
much.
an ATM account.
He's selling $80, 60, 40, 50, 60, 70, $80 bottles of bourbon or whatever. So people are not carrying that kind of cash with them. And so he was furious. And so I was running around trying to find some solution to that. As it ended up, my son Steve, who is the Adirondack Coast Events, he's the timer. He uses his Wi-Fi hotspot for the registration. So as a hotspot. So after he was finished, he went over more toward the center of the field, and then all the vendors were able to use his hotspot, but it was his personal hotspot that he was able to use. So it's really spotty at best at Festival Field. And then of course,
About just the cell phone signal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, depending on the
And you
service
certainly
provider.
wouldn't want that to happen at the Festival of Colors, and we didn't have a Festival of Colors to find out actually last year. But it was, I had some angry vendors in the morning.
Well, the only thing I would say about that, and this is not saying that I'm against the Wi-Fi, but as a vendor going to different areas, I would think it would be their responsibility to make sure that they have ability to bring somebody out. Most of the time, if I went to an area, I would make sure I had cell service or some type of way, or a manual type of way to take down payments or something and then ring them in afterwards. It just seems like to blame you for not having cell phone service or internet, that doesn't seem like it's fair, because they're the vendor. If they want to take and sell stuff, then it's up for them to provide a way to be able to sell the stuff. So
Most people are used to having cell phone service everywhere. And they're not used to coming to a mountain area and facing the fact that they don't have cell phone service everywhere. you know, you have to stand in a certain spot or whatever. I mean, in a city area or actually anywhere else other than that Adirondack, and maybe the Catskill, it's very difficult. It's a difficult situation for them, and they're not used to that. And so it works over in Marcy Field. We did we took advantage of their farmers market last year because we didn't have the Festival of Colors. So we did enter the farmers market, and we were able to do that. And I was able to use the Wi-Fi there to do point of sale. For people do not walk around with lots of cash. They have credit cards, and they expect to be able to use credit cards.
You gave us this document about where the Historical Society's income comes from, and I can't quite decipher this pie graph. How much does the whiskey run bring in?
Between $10,000 and $14,000.
Thank you.
It depends on the year.
Thanks. The colors, I couldn't figure out which color at the bottom matched which section of the pie. So can
I was going to ask Tina if she had something to say.
So for us to do this roughly, it's gonna cost us $1,200 a year for each place, basically, because you're gonna have to go with at least 2G.
Yeah.
Because 1G gives you about 20 phones on an average base, if you look at, if you look at.
Yeah, I defer to you. I don't really
So
know.
we're gonna have to go like a 2G, so it's gonna be like $100 a month, so you're talking $1,200 on each place. To do
Yeah,
that.
and then you get into the annual, you can't disconnect it problem.
So that's,
you were saying 2G?
yeah, that would be my recommendation. That's what I'm thinking in my mind, because 1G roughly about 20 phones, and if you're doing 40 vendors or something, on a minimum, not counting anything else around, you're looking at, that's roughly $1,200. That's a good chunk of change on each one of them. Now, Heritage, I don't think you need to have two. I think you might be able to get away with the 69, the 1G.
Yeah,
Do you not have free Wi-Fi at the
There's
visitor?
Wi-Fi that we share with the library.
Okay, but it's a free.
It's free,
Okay.
correct. And there's a sign at the Visitors Bureau with the password. You don't even have to go into the building. And it's a useful service because there are people that come from out of town whose cell plans don't cover this town. And they need their passcode to get into their, wherever,
So do we need to do that?
I don't know, so why were we looking at Heritage?
I just generally
Oh,
speaking,
okay, so there wasn't a
the idea
specific.
that the town
Oh,
would,
okay,
dedicate community enhancement funds towards a service like this.
Oh,
tourism.
okay.
But it's already there, right?
It's at the Visitors Bureau, but it's not at the field across the street. And I think that's the concern, right?
No, we're specifically Festival Field.
Festival Field, yes.
I was asking if there was a difference if we'd gotten for Heritage Park or, even at the ball field.
Right.
We have the service, but we don't have a booster or a way of doing, a Wi-Fi net. We haven't gotten into that. I think generally speaking, the idea that the town provided Wi-Fi at public spaces is easily within the community enhancement RIFs funds definition of tourist type spending that they want us to do. And it seems to me that it's appropriate, and it's not coming directly from the property tax. It's our global tax base. So that's my theory.
These are long, in-depth, complex conversations, unfortunately. First of all, if we're only talking about Festival Field, and we're only talking about $1,200 a year, then then we're only talking about $1,200 a year. So that's a small amount of money for the town. And it's not coming directly from the property taxpayers. But at the end of the year, the unspent bed tax money does go into the general fund, as was discussed at a previous meeting.
That's subject to change.
So it's hard to know what to think or what to say when it's different every month. But well, when the rules and the goalposts are constantly shifting. Big picture, it's a small amount of money. It's hard to really argue about. There is already free public Wi-Fi. I think there's free public Wi-Fi here. And we spend, the town spends a lot. The property taxpayers do spend a lot to support the events currently. And it just seems endless. So as I said at the last meeting, I'm pretty lukewarm about it. I think to spend $1,200 to support 6 events I'm not crazy about it. Because it's not as though we're only spending $1,200. That's $1,200 on top of 10,000 here, 30,000 there. It just keeps going. So.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion to agree to authorize us to provide that Wi-Fi to Festival Field at 2G, 2 gigs. And I'll try to clarify exactly for the board what the service is like that to Paul. I mean, that's what I understand from conversations, but I'll definitely put that in writing. If it's something different, then we'll return to this. But so that's the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion?
The town, it's not as though the town doesn't support the Historical Society. The Historical Society's meetings are in this room. Their offices are in the community center. The town labor does contribute to the festival, to the whiskey run, etc. The town pays for the garbage and the electricity, etc. And if the organization is raising 12,000, I'd like to see these organizations step up a little more for some of these costs. Big picture, that's how I feel about it. I'm not against the events, but who is paying for what?
Thank you.
Is the issue.
Just a moment. Darren has
that's $1,200 a year?
Yes.
For that?
Mm-hmm.
Could somebody donate the $12,000 and give
$1,200
a year and drop a check off and cover it? Does it have to go through the town board?
I'd be much more into it if a community member was donating the $1,200.
You mean just dropping off a check as a donation and saying this is what it's going for?
If I was to bring a check tomorrow and write it out, who would I give it to cover the Wi-Fi?
give it to Nicole.
Nicole, just, yeah.
Yeah, it's still the town's property though, so we'd be the contract person.
Well, I could donate it.
Sure.
But
And that would cover it.
don't expect a plaque.
I don't want to.
We may get a name plate, not a plaque.
Randy,
In the future, why can't you raise the vendor fees? Not necessarily this year, but why not next year?
we don't have any vendor fees, we can raise it.
You let it come for nothing?
We don't get it. The organizations get it.
Okay, sorry.
So, everybody right now is pointing their fingers at the whiskey run and stuff like that, which I don't think is fair at all. This whole thing is supposed to be for tourism and community enhancement. So yes, the whiskey run is going to benefit the one day of year out of it, but the rest of the year it's going to be for visitors to our town. So for us to say that we're providing this service of $1,200 for the year for the whiskey run for that one day is completely unfair. It's for tourism and all visitors in Wilmington that need to access it if they have AT&T, if they have T-Mobile, It gives them an area to go with internet access when they may not have it otherwise.
Just a minute, Tina first.
Even Spectrum, same thing. But, and after I had spoke earlier, I got to thinking, even with his Wi-Fi at the Visitors Bureau, with all the bikes that we have come in for these events, that overloads what he has. So having it at the Heritage Field would give him the extra to be able to do that as well. Heritage Park.
No, I'm
Festival,
not
yeah.
mocking you.
No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about down at the park too, because you have all the bikes down there that are outside.
Yeah, I know, but
Visitors Bureau.
the motion right now is for
I know.
it's
I
for
wasn't
Festival
mocking you.
Field.
I wasn't, but there is better cell phone service at Heritage Park. Also, we've all traveled, we've all gone to places where there's not cell phone service. I don't expect the town to put in a public cell phone service or Wi-Fi for me to utilize. I will find it, or I will wait, I don't know. It seems so, I don't know.
Okay, so, Tim, let's get on that, please.
So, I mean, no one's picking on the whiskey run. This is being discussed in response to a request from the organizers of the whiskey run. So that's why
It's actually between the whiskey and town, isn't this from you too, right?
Yes, this would
It's
serve
not
any
just-
event that comes to the town of
Right,
Wilmington.
but
Or serve
this-
not just events, it would serve any person or human that comes to the town of Wilmington that needs Wi-Fi service.
Like such as the bike fest.
Such
that
as-
utilizes that, or
Yeah.
the festival.
Festival
of
colors. It makes
or-
it easier for a consumer to come to a festival and having more streamlined and more friendly experience with the vendor. If you're having to deal with credit card slips, there's lines that could queue up, and then there's sale losses with that. Speaking to being prepared, that's how you be prepared for no sale, credit card sales, right? You have to handwrite everything. That's going to eventually slow down whatever that vendor's trying to sell. If they could go to another field that has whatever whatever Wi-Fi, they're going to choose to go there rather than come here. They're having better experiences at other places. They're going to go to those places rather than come back to this place. I think that's why we're talking about this. Is that right?
Together, yeah.
Yeah, together. I mean, as a community, not just us two, but like.
It's not just for us.
Not just for us,
Not
but
just
it's
you,
for the
it's all
whole
of
town.
us.
This will be my last comment. and
I was
It's very,
interrupted. I didn't even get to finish.
Hold on, let Darren do it and then you can get to you.
my comment's very short. It's like, we sit here meeting after meeting after meeting and look for ways to spend community enhancement money and promote tourism. This is exactly what this money is for. And here, we're sitting here arguing about $1,200. Next month, we're gonna come in and be like, oh, here's a thing, let's spend $10,000, that'll come out of community enhancement. It seems absolutely ludicrous that we're sitting here arguing about $1,200 when it's clearly one of the things that fall as community enhancement.
Tim?
I don't completely disagree. As I said, it is a small amount of money. But it is not the only expenditure in this vein. It's almost every month, it seems like we have this type of conversation. Big picture, I would like to see this bed tax money used for large projects and property tax relief. And finally, I do agree that it is a public service for a town to provide Wi-Fi for residents who need it. Kids trying to do their homework, whatever. That's a normal and positive thing for a town to provide. We provide it. We provide it at the library, and we provide it in this building. So I think, like I said, I think that some of these costs, big picture, I really would like to see some of these costs on the organization, not on the taxpayers in the general fund.
Roll call, please, Deb.
Okay, Tim. No?
Boy, I'll go no.
Darren?
Yes.
Laura? Yes. Tina?
Yes.
David?
Yes, thank you.
Gary?
Okay, So Porter Johns we discussed, we'll come back. I gave you some information about the alarm system for the community center. It needs an overhaul. I think I mentioned when I sent the paperwork to people, I hope I've said it, that we also applied for a grant with the fire department for Homeland Security. The grant, if successful, will pay for the entire, the larger amount, not the Altech, but the other group. That would be a totally redo of the thing. So we've come back to that one, but I wanted to at least introduce the topic to the board so we can, discuss that. That's, it's gonna be.
Why wouldn't it cover all sectors?
Well, they'll cover Altex, but it's enough to cover the bigger amount if we went in that direction. Right. So that's the first one. Proposed local law senior stuff. I handed out the property exemption stuff. So what's happening here is we talked about this at the last meeting. That is the percentage evaluation exempt from taxation that Wilmington adopted in 2023. And what this would do is it would allow us to subtract out of that schedule Social Security income as part of their income calculation for their senior citizens tax exemption. So if you're on the borderline and you're looking for 45%, and their Social Security income gets you over $26,000, we could subtract out the Social Security income. It would put you back down at the 45% exemption again. The other option for the community is to increase the total amount. And so you see the ones various other towns do. North Alba has got the one where people earning $37,399.99 will still receive a senior citizens exemption of some kind. Again, North Alba also subtracts out their Social Security income. This is where I got that idea from. So I drafted that up for future reference. The next thing, and I'm sorry I'm late on this one, we talked about precision tree with John. Did we do anything with that?
You said you were gonna go.
You said you were.
That's it, okay. And the other one is, this is the first quote that we got for the repair of the ceiling downstairs. I handed that to you as well. So that one you can, I will call up and try to get another quote and an update. Board comments, I handed out to everybody. I think we're gonna get to it this evening. I come at some of my notes, and what I took was Tim's proposed amendments and to the land use code, and I put it into the actual land use code, and I made some comments and highlights and things like that. So there are a couple of things when we get down to it. So for dumpsters, for example, goes into whatever Article 4 general regulations. And then there's also a thing on page 42 where restaurant and tavern or ground-mounted utilities and dumpsters shall be screened. That can get struck out at some point. So again, this is just for the board's reference. We'll return to comment and rewrite on this local law as we go.
John, could you please make a note and ask Carissa to put the waterfront revitalization plan on the website?
Yeah, I'll do it. Okay. Well, if you ask me, I'll ask you.
Favor.
That's fine. And then, so then finally, we have the bill pay resolution. I have a motion to a resolution to pay the bills from May 13th, 2025 to June 9th, 2025, and to transfer all the funds necessary therefore.
We'll make it.
Okay. Any questions or discussion?
I have one question. Why do you do a prepay for a van?
Colin, I'm sorry for this.
Yeah, no problem. Go for it.
Okay, so there was a mutual mistake, and so the town, under the circumstances for the two-fly, ended up paying the band at the last minute for who was coming to the two-fly.
Looks like they're reimbursing us.
They are.
Okay.
That's,
That's no problem.
yeah,
That's,
so-
that's what I figured it was happening.
yeah, so that's what that is. No, she,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
she asked me. So yeah, that was the prepay because they were standing there waiting to get their money, as all bands are.
Yeah.
So that's how that works. So that's a motion and a second. Any more discussions? Questions? All in favor? Aye.
You did say anything. Aye.
For the bill pay resolution.
Aye.
All right, and I'm sorry to keep you waiting. If you had something you wanted to talk to us about tonight, go right ahead, please.
Boy, there's been a lot of attrition. We had quite the group at first.
Poor Gail.
I'll make
I'm
the
going
motion
to
to adjourn.
Does anyone, no one want to say anything?
Motion to
Thank you all for
adjourn.
coming.
Thank you so much.
Second, all in favor.
All right.
Did you
Thanks,
see me
Gail.
on it?
What's that?
Did you see me on it or what? Are my eyes
No.
closed?
No,
No.
you were standing before,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you were like,
I know, I thought we were ready to go.
Good.
Take care.
Thanks for coming.
Yes.